Welcome back to Black Ice Reality Check. We are here with a superb guest back in Vegas, making it happen. We are here with Steven Cohen, who is the owner of Sunder Corporation. Is that right?
Sunder Energy.
He's a motivational speaker. He speaks on leadership, motivation. I would say a mentor coach as well.
Yeah, you could call me that.
And you are the biggest solar company?
Yeah, biggest solar sales company in basically North America.
Wow. Okay, so he's on the set now, and I brought him on because he's got an interesting Instagram. He's successful. I would say young. How old are you?
29 years young, man.
29.
30 in 2 months.
You're not even dirty 30 yet.
Not yet. Coming up.
So my question is, I brought you on here because of a couple of reasons. We're going to talk about, first we're going to talk about business. Tell me where you're from and how you got started.
Yeah, man. So basically raised in Las Vegas. I was born in New York, moved here when I was very young. Lived a pretty mediocre average life. Both my parents combined never made more than $30,000 a year. So growing up, money was always a issue in the household. So as I got older, I always knew I wanted big things. I had big goals and big dreams, but I never necessarily had the mentorship or the vehicle in order to obtain them. So essentially I bought into the current day modern system of going to school, getting a good job, ended up going to college out here in UNLV, shout out Rebels. And I quickly realized that the things that I wanted in life, I wasn't going to learn in the classroom. I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I realized quickly that my, bless his heart, college professor making $50,000 a year wasn't going to teach me how to create wealth and start a business. So I dropped out of college. I got involved in affiliate marketing for the first 3 years, and that's really how I learned a lot about sales, entrepreneurship, communication, personal development, leadership, public speaking, all these skills that I never really knew existed until I left the modern day educational system. And then shortly after that, back in 2015, I got introduced to the solar industry. Door-to-door direct sales is how I started. And been doing that ever since, man. Been doing in the direct sales space for the last 10 years. Started as a broke college student, and we're not that anymore.
Wow. So you can pull your mic a little closer. There you go. So if I was, let's say I'm a guy that just got out of school, or do you need a degree to do what you do?
No.
Okay. So could a guy that started from zero make $100K going into the solar business as a sales rep? Can they obtain that their first year? Is that realistic, or are we talking year two?
Super realistic. So it all depends on the individual that's coming in. You know, we attract various different types of people. We have the 18-year-old who just got out of high school and who is ambitious and looking for more out of life. And we also have the 60 or 70-year-old that maybe had a little bit of sales experience that is looking for a new industry. All we look for in our industry, solar, I think, is one of the best industries right now in the country in terms of the earning potential, in terms of the value proposition to the customer. So as long as people come in coachable, willing to work, we don't care about their past, just about their future, and they commit and they have a high coachability index, they could simply earn six figures or higher in their first year.
Wow. So when you hear these younger, I don't want to say younger kids, younger adults, I don't know what generation the 20-year-olds are. What generation are you in?
Millennial.
Millennials. So when you hear the millennials say they're not making any money, they can't get a good job, and they have people skills, is it fair to say that they could transition if they're coachable, which is the number one trait, learning a new skill or trade? They have all the upside potential if they're coachable and willing to be guided to make $100K.
Absolutely. I think where most people go wrong is they're simply just listening to the wrong people. They're listening to their parents who probably haven't created much success themselves. They're listening to their pastor, their professor. Most people growing up, you think of success as being a lawyer, being a doctor, being some type of professional in a trade where you have to go get into debt, go to school for 40 is what I call it, 40 hours a week for 40 years of your life, and hopefully retire one day. And they're not listening to the right people. I think what really helped me was after I changed my perspective on success, life, and what I wanted to do, I started tuning in to young people making $10, $20, $30, $40,000 a month that weren't necessarily doing things the traditional way. So for all these people that are coming out of college that necessarily aren't really making the money or not super fulfilled in what they're doing, it's simply because they're taking advice from people that don't have the results they want. Therefore, they're not open to new possibilities or new opportunities that may look a little foreign to them in the present.
Wow. So you guys have a training course you put somebody through. So is it a track course? What's the ramp up for a new guy?
Yeah, so typically new person comes in, and the biggest thing we focus on is sales is obviously important, but we have some super successful people that had no sales experience. As long as they're hungry and they're open to new ideas, we can help support them in achieving whatever they want out of life. The biggest thing that we focus on typically is getting their identity right. Sure, you need to figure out how to pitch a door, learn about solar, overcome objections, manage yourself, because most people that we attract are coming from a typical 9-to-5 job. And as you know, Dav, one of the hardest things out there is breaking that mindset of being told what to do, when to do it. We're conditioned from a young age, from school, from college, where literally we're conditioned by a bell when we could go to lunch, when we could go to the bathroom. So when someone comes in, we have to break that employee mindset and help them realize that you can go create anything you want out of life as long as you can create the discipline and accountability where you're not necessarily depending on other people. So once we figure out the identity portion and get them from a 40, 50, 60,000 a year earner to 100, 150, 200, $300,000 earner, all the sales techniques, the work ethic, everything else typically takes care of itself. But yeah, we do a fast start boot camp. We teach them about solar. We teach them how to knock a door. We teach them how to handle an objection. And typically we're giving them some sales content as well to help gap that learning curve.
Now, wouldn't you say there's more men in this industry?
100%.
But do you feel women have a better advantage because they're more of a open, softer approach to a door? Like when your guy knocked on my door, I'm like, I'm not a morning guy, and it's funny because I've ran $1 million companies. This is fourth company. But I'm still that guy. I get these guys out, and I don't know how your performance is, but I sleep 4 hours a night. I get up, do this. It's like you're sleeping, I'm still working. And then they say, well, I'm ahead of you. I said, well, I'm ahead of you. I think it has to fit the individual. But my point is when your guy came to the door, it's a guy. And let's just call a spade a spade. I'm much more receptive to a woman coming to my front door. Do women have more opportunities in the beginning or the end or the whole cycle to make more than a guy in your industry?
Yeah, 100%. So to your point, the direct sales industry, it doesn't matter if you look at my industry, which is direct sales, door-to-door solar, or any type of performance-based industry when it comes to sales, is very male dominant. Thankfully, it's starting to shift over the last 5 or 6 or 7 years, where I would say about 15 to 20% of our company, which we have more than others, is actually female-based. But totally, I believe females have an advantage because, again, more people are typically more receptive, and you don't have as much confrontation when a nice female opens the door and they're willing to talk to you about something that hopefully is adding value to you. The challenge, though, that we've found with females is typically their emotions are a little bit more reactive than a male. So the ones that can really have that stoic mindset and realize that, hey, this is a numbers game. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be peaks and valleys. Those are typically the ones that will make it out the other side and see super success. The ones that can't separate their emotions from their ability are typically the ones that end up not making it, even though they have maybe more potential where they could go and crush it in direct sales.
That's interesting because when I teach my guys in business, I say I want you to go get 10 no's, right? And it's a business response, not a personal response. In other words, don't take it personal. I want to see how many. Come back to me when you get 50 no's, because everybody wants the win, but they don't want to go through the trenches, right? And so when I'm training people on my teams or companies I work with, go get me 10 no's. Come back, tell me how it went.
Totally.
And it's just like dating, right? Go get 10 no's. These guys are like, how do you meet these? Are you talking to anybody? First of all, I know out there right now, it's like, I don't want to be talked to at the gym. I don't want guys in my DM. I'm here at the restaurant. Don't bother me. I'm at the lounge. And then they turn around and say, why aren't guys approaching me? Right. You're never going to win, but go get 10 no's. So talk about that.
Yeah. You need to have your line in the water. So many people out there, they prepare their tackle box. They're out there, they prepare their day. They're out there for 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. But if your line's not in the water, if you don't set yourself up with the opportunity to go create some income or go create some results, then you're never obviously going to catch the fish in that metaphor. And the reason I really love door-to-door, to your point, is I think direct sales is a reflection of life. I don't look at sales as just a binary, you make a sale, you make money. I really think direct sales is a personal development program with a compensation plan attached. The people that make the most money, and I am a good example of this, is not necessarily the best, sharpest, smooth talking car salesman. It's the people that develop themselves on the journey of who they're trying to accomplish. And in our industry, we focus so much on the mindset because, as you know, Dev, right, you could be super good, super sharp, super good looking and have all the things that you would look at as success. But if your mind isn't right, if your belief's not there, if the philosophy doesn't back up your appearance, then you're never going to go out there and execute. So totally, door-to-door and direct sales in general, it prepares you for the real world because it doesn't matter what you do in life. You're going to get told no way more than you get told yes. And if you can emotionally attach yourself from the outcome, marry the process, divorce the result, it's going to serve you way later in life.
Now, good point. What market how hot is Vegas right now?
It's hot.
Not temperature wise, but I'm talking
Both.
about. So do you feel, you asked me where it's from, Seattle.
Yeah.
You're not selling any solar in Seattle, are you?
Not Seattle yet. We actually have a big team in Oregon. I was actually there just last
Oregon
week.
has more sun.
Yes.
In Bend, Oregon.
Yes.
Right? So my question is, what's your most, I don't want to say profitable net, but gross revenue earning city in the U.S. right now?
It's probably California, San Diego, Orange County. So most people don't realize when it comes to solar and you look at a good market, it's not just how much sun does it get. That is a little bit of a factor, but the more important factor is the actual utility companies, because how solar works, we're basically working alongside the utility company. So California is super valuable of a market because the utility rates are so high there. So we can go in there with an awesome value prop, charge more than maybe like a Nevada, Oregon, Texas, still save the customer a ton of money, and the revenue comes into the company higher because the market value and the contracts are so much higher. So it really just has to do with the utility company, their laws, how they work with solar, because there's some things that you need to essentially work with the utility company. And most importantly, how high are the utility rates? Like, we're not too much in the Midwest. We're open in 30 states currently. We have active sales reps in 30 states selling, and it probably won't be the rest of the states until the utility rates with inflation will probably get there to match where it makes sense for a company to go in there and start providing solar.
Now, are you, that's awesome. I mean, because we have tons of people moving from California here. I mean,
Ton.
My whole neighborhood, right? And I think two or three of my neighbors, right next to me, are all from Cali. And I asked them why they left. Obviously, the state income tax, right? It's too high, and the laws and all that stuff. But everybody's putting up a second set of solar panels, and people don't realize when you're moving into these homes. What I didn't know, because I'm from Seattle, first brand new house I bought. I've always bought resales. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, it has solar panels, rent, lease, lease or own. I had no idea, right? So I'll lease them, whatever. But I didn't know that they didn't put enough solar panels on the house. And so what's happening is these door-to-door guys will come by and they'll say, you want new solar? And me, I'm like, I don't know, I got solar. And then summertime comes and we get our energy bill. We're like, how did I go from $13 a month to $356? And it's because we're using AC and the solar doesn't reserve up power to provide you the extra energy you need for your house. Am I saying that right?
No, you got it, man.
Okay.
I'll give you a polo soon.
Right on.
We'll hit the streets.
So what happened is this guy comes to my door and now I'm like, oh yeah, like I need solar panels. And it's a low barrier to entry. There's no fee, right?
Correct.
To add solar. And the amount of monthly bill that I get is substantially less than my energy bill. And so you save money throughout the year. And leasing it, or no, is it buying it? I'm buying it now, right? Or leasing.
Ownership, yeah.
I get the federal tax deduction the first year, right?
Totally, yep.
So there's a lot of upside potential. So now my next question is, obviously you're well-read. What are some top 3 books that you recommend people to gain the leadership skills? Obviously, you've trained your mind, right? Because this is something it's a constant skill you have to constantly improve every day. So what are some of the top 3 books you recommend for young-minded individuals that want to be successful in life and business?
Yeah, I believe that leaders are readers. You know, when I go back on my own journey, I've been in this entrepreneur game for the last almost decade, going on 10 years. And I would say the biggest shift in my life was realizing that it doesn't necessarily matter what happens in the external world. It doesn't matter what happens in the economy. It doesn't matter what happens if your girlfriend breaks up to you or, your wife cheats on you. None of that matters, or if a business partner, F's you over. All that matters is, as long as your inner world is good and you focus on your thoughts and your attitudes, your outer world is typically a reflection of that. So The number one book I usually recommend to people is Think and Grow Rich. It's made more millionaires than any other book, I believe, out there. And that was the first book. Growing up, going to college and going to high school, I hated reading because you're forced to read shit that you don't really want to read. So as you grow older, you get a belief that, oh, reading sucks. It's something that I have to do. I don't really like it. But what most people don't realize is formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. And the only way to move up in life, at least in my experience, is we train our body every day. We feed our body every day. We need to feed our mind. So Think and Grow Rich is probably my favorite book. It starts to condition your mind to believe that you can actually go achieve high levels of wealth at any age, and that you can go out there and go create abundance and go create success in your life, regardless of your background, regardless of your external circumstances, because the only thing that matters is your own philosophy, not necessarily the economy. So Think and Grow Rich is a big one. I like Ask and It's Given. It's more on the spiritual side of success and teaches you how to be fluid and manage your emotions and realize that, I don't know how religious you are. I'm not super religious, but that there's some type of higher being source that is taking care of you and that will support you. And then I think you need some type of sales books. Communication, I believe, is the most effective skill set on the planet. It doesn't matter what you want to do in life. Your ability to effectively communicate with people and help inspire and help make friends is going to make you a ton of money, a ton of happiness, and a ton of success in the long run.
Awesome. Yeah. So what about mentorship? Can you talk about that? Do you mentor your crew individually, or do you have teams? I don't know how your organization is laid out, but do you personally mentor anybody individually, one-on-one in your company, not just for success in business, but life? Like, is there an individual you have that maybe your top tier management?
Yeah, totally. I believe that it's not a business thing that's causing you to not produce. It's a life thing that's affecting your business that's not causing you to produce. So I believe that once you build the people will build the business. And that's always been my philosophy. So my essentially goal as being in this position as a leader in our organization is when I pour into the people will pour into the business. And like we kind of spoke about, for anyone that is running a business, for running teams, leading an organization, doesn't matter if it's sales or anything, the more that you can pour into your people and the more that you can teach them and support them and be there for them and actually care about their lives, not just their numbers, one, it creates loyalty. Two, it creates vulnerability on both ends so you can truly help them. I've been mentored my whole life, maybe not going and reaching out and be like, hey, bro, mentor me. But I've always been in situations where I've put myself in organizations or company where there's someone that has the results I want. And by me adding value to them, whether it's building a business or helping them make more money, as a byproduct, they're going to pour into me because they are incentivized to do so. One of the questions I always get asked on social media is like, Steven, how do you find a mentor? All these success books, all these videos, like, I need to find a mentor. I need to go find a mentor. But if you go to a multi-millionaire and you're broke and be like, hey, bro, mentor me, let me take you out to lunch, you're going to be like, F off, dude. Here's 20 grand, 30 grand. My time's valuable. So what I recommend, especially to young people, is get into some business, company, organization where there's people above you vibrating on a high level. There's people above you that have the results you want. And by you adding value to that organization, whether it's knocking doors or whether it's supporting them or whether it's, lead generation to get houses or solar leads or whatever your company is, as a byproduct, they'll be willing to help you. And that's how you're going to get there. Smart people learn from their own mistakes. Brilliant people learn from other people's mistakes. And the closer that you can get to having conversations and being in proximity with people that have the results you want, the shorter that gap of success will be for your own life.
Wow, that's strong. This guy's a walking book. I don't even need to buy a book anymore, Steven.
Not bad, man.
So what do you think about John Maxwell? Do you know John Maxwell?
Yeah, of course, man. John C. Maxwell, I think he's one of the OGs on leadership.
There you go.
Yeah, I've read a couple books to him. I love, I forget the exact book, but one of his lessons, one of his laws is law of the lid, as you probably know about. And I believe that. I think your level of effectiveness in your business, in your marriage, in your fitness, in your personal life is congruent to your level of leadership. And there may be a lot of people, listening, Dad, being like, well, leadership sounds cool, but I don't have a team. I don't have people following me. If you don't have a team or you don't think you're a leader, the first person you need to lead is yourself. So by increasing your level of leadership, you do that by increasing your integrity, increasing your authenticity, making sure that the things you say that come out of your mouth, you actually believe and you're speaking your truth. By being in integrity with your values and yourself, that's going to increase your leadership. You'll then attract higher caliber people into your business, into your life, into your relationship, and everything gets better from there.
Wow. Hey, I'm sold. Where do I sign up?
I'll send you the link after the show, man.
So where can a person that's watching this, and the reason I wanted you here, I knew this was going to be impactful. And by the way, I was mentored by John Maxwell for 6 years. That's how I learned my ability to serve others, right? That's his thing. You got to serve others,
sure.
Right? You know, John's just a phenomenal guy. But where does somebody go right now? Let's say the person, there's a person out there, they're in Kansas, they're in Milwaukee, they're in New York, New Jersey, wherever, anywhere in the U.S. right now. They're watching this podcast. And they're like, you know what? I'm going to take a risk. I got $5K in my pocket. Let's just say $8K or maybe $5,000. I'm going to move to Vegas. I want to go work for this company. Can they go online and apply first? Where do they go to have an opportunity to interview with your company? And then let's say they get the job. What's the probability of a person that's just say an average Joe? Let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, as far as people skills, they're a 5. And they got $5,000 in their pocket. They have nothing else, no kids, no house, no wife. And they're like, I need to make a living. I like solar. What's the probability of that person coming to Vegas, finding a crappy little place, and being successful with your company?
Very high, man. We do it all the time. Some of our best people, whether it's Vegas, like I said, we're in 30 states. Some of our best people are the people that see the value in the opportunity and they burn their boats, drop their life, and they come out for a new opportunity. The reason that a lot of younger people are attracted, I feel like, to our business and that are able to make those big moves is because the older you get, the more responsibilities you get, the more stuck you get. You know, once you get a family, once you have a mortgage, you get bills, you become a lot less flexibility. It's tough for someone who has those responsibilities to just be like, hey, I'm going to drop everything and go take a chance on myself and go change my life. The reason the young people have more ability to do that is because they have less things holding them down. And, you know, I love how Joe Rogan talks about that. It's as you go through life, sometimes you realize you're like, man, I'm stuck. You know, I'm not happy with my job. I'm not happy with my income. I'm not happy with my relationship or the things that I'm doing or the contribution I'm making. But they're in such a situation where they're kind of stuck like a video game and they don't have the ability to go pivot and move. So I would say for those people, make the jump, join.sunderenergy.com. You can apply on there. One of our team members will reach out to you and see if you're a good fit.
How do you spell that? Can you spell out the URL?
Yeah, join, joinsunderenergy.com.
So what is it again?
JoinSunderEnergy.com.
Join Sunder Energy. Okay, great. So if you're watching this podcast and you're, I don't care how old you are. I mean, like sometimes people fall, right? I've fallen. I just talked about another podcast, falling forward, making a lot of money, coming down. But if you want to reinvent yourself, I believe with this guy, his company, you got the right tools in the toolbox to move forward in life. Take the shot, make it happen, and move forward. And take a risk. And they don't have to move here. They can be in a market you're in. You're in how many markets?
30 states.
30 states out of 50, right? Are you in any territories? Are you like in Puerto Rico at all or Guam?
We're actually launching Puerto Rico Q4.
Nice.
It's going to be awesome.
Nice. So I'm moving to Puerto Rico. No, just kidding.
0% or 1% taxes. Hang out with Logan and Jake Paul.
Right. Hang out with who?
Logan and Jake Paul. They're out there.
Are they out there?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know they moved there.
For taxes, allegedly.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get a residence there then. Right on. So now are you based here?
Yeah, I live here.
Is this corporate headquarters?
No. So our corporate headquarters is in Utah. So it's a lot of door-to-door people are based out of Utah. The LDS community really is attracted to door-to-door.
Well, they're the first trainers of it.
100%.
They all go through the training, right?
Yeah,
Door-to-door.
they're out there selling religion. And it's perfect. You know, it's funny. When I first got into the industry, I looked around. I'm like, why are 90% of network marketing and door-to-door companies all based out of Utah? And I talked to one of the guys, and they're like, yeah, you know, these LDS people are the perfect salesperson. You know, they're competitive, they're family, they're hardworking, they don't drink, they don't smoke, they're trained in sales for 2 years, and that's why a lot of people are attracted to it.
Wow. And so, but you have an office here.
Yes. Yeah. So our corporate headquarters is in Utah, but we have sales offices across the country.
Oh, so they can go to any of those 30 states.
Yes.
Wow. So you have an outlet. Awesome. Well, now I want to shift over to lifestyle, dating, relationships, which is kind of where I focus. I mean, I have my business, but you know, for me, business is I started doing this podcast because I was available to coach successful men, non-successful men, and for years, just as a friend, I created a skill. I don't know why, but when I was younger, how I could talk to women, date women. I wasn't afraid of it, right? And I got pretty good at it. And over the time, guys are like, how do you do it? I go, how do I do what? How do you meet these girls? So I started mentoring and coaching guys. And then I realized after a certain amount of time that I got into relationships and marriages, and I found that the big challenge was modern day women, the way they think. Now, not being a misogynist, because I love women. I'm not prejudiced. I'm not trying to oppress women. But I see this shift going from I'm going to be a great wife and supporter in the role of a relationship to I'm going to be your competitor. I'm going to battle you for dominance. So you're in a relationship, not married?
Correct.
And how long you been in a relationship for?
Going on 8 years.
8 years.
I'm basically married in the state of Nevada, but not technically legal.
Okay,
married.
so and can I ask you, nothing's off the table here? No?
Nothing. Open book.
Are you for modern day marriage, or are you for just long-term relationship acting like you're married?
It's a good question.
Because you know she's going to watch this.
Totally. Shout out Nicole.
Nicole, don't come after me, Nicole.
It's a good question. I do believe in modern day marriage. I do believe committing to one individual and being faithful and pouring into them just as much as pouring into you, going through the ups and downs. I believe behind any great man, there is a great woman
100%.
supporting them. You know, you look at some of the most successful people on the planet, billionaires, probably even trillionaires, and you know, a lot of them have formal marriages. I don't necessarily believe in the government being in your business and taking, you know, all these legal risks, but in terms of finding one woman and committing to her, I totally support that.
100%. I'm on the same page. I mean, and this is a no common law state. I researched that.
Yeah, it's important.
So, does she work in your industry?
No, she works at Tao Beach actually. So she's in the industry.
Oh, okay.
Makes great money at Tao Beach, Cabana, serving bottles, selling bottles, all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
those girls make money, man.
They crush it. It's almost like a summer sales program.
It is, but they make the money. But here's the thing I've noticed about the not her necessarily, because I believe, you know, if she's anything like you, or you've helped uplift her, I believe you guys have a successful relationship. But most of the gals there, they'll make all their money in the summer and spend it all in the winter. They don't reinvest it, right?
Yeah, and it's not just the girls. You know, one of the things, I grew up here, so a lot of my friends that went to high school, college, instead of, you know, maybe they got degrees, maybe they didn't, but you can go be a bartender and make $150K a year. You can go be a host and go promote and have awesome connections and go meet super successful people. So I think one of the reasons the educational system sucks in Las Vegas is because there's so much opportunity in the hospitality industry where you can go make a high six-figure income, have an awesome lifestyle without necessarily going to school. But to your point, I totally agree, you know, and that's something that we talked about is most people, when they work in the industry, they make this money, they're partying all day, you know, they're around that. And what do? Their coworkers, after they get off in the day, they go out at night and they invest that money back into the club, back into the nightlife. And that's how it kind of consumes you. And then you wake up 5-10 years later, and that's why, you know, no shade, but you see, you know, cocktail waitresses at the Santa Fe or the Suncoast because they never developed the skill set
100%.
with all that money they made.
100%. And it's funny because, you know, John Orlando that runs the studio, his partner, right? Same situation. I think that's 5 years, 4 years. She works at Wet Republic.
Okay.
So you guys that's why I connect you guys. Now that I know, you guys got a lot in common. But
they probably know each other.
No, that's awesome. So do you have a lot of guys, do you see a lot of failed marriages right now? Do you see more failed marriages than successful ones? Have you ever noticed it? Because you know it's 51%. So out of 100% of marriages, 51% fail, right? And this is the Census Bureau data, okay? So, but what I've noticed lately is that if I ask somebody to give me 5 people they know, not your family, okay, outside your family, you know, that have made it 10 years in marriage. It's hard to do.
It's hard.
So do you see a lot of failed relationships with the guys you're working with and how it affects them in life and business?
Totally. Totally. Even, our CEO, our mentor, he just, LDS guy, married for 7-8 years happily. They just got a divorce a couple of years ago. Mormons. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Super interesting, which is, typically the more of the religious communities. I'm Jewish. I'm not Mormon, but the Mormon community, even the Jewish community, the marriages typically stick a little bit better because of the religion and probably pressure from the church and all that stuff. But yeah, man, I mean, forever is a really long time. And I think what happens, obviously 51%, there's a reason for that. You have a more likely chance not to work out than work out, statistically speaking. And I think it's probably a lot of different things. I'm sure finances has something to do with that. But I think as people grow, you could be on the same page 5, 6, 7 years ago, but life is a long time. And as people grow, you either grow together, you grow apart. And part of it is, I'm sure there's a lot of marriages out there that don't even want to be together, but they do because of certain pressures or certain things where they're probably better off divorced. So that number could be even higher if people actually got divorced when they wanted to.
So were you a high valued man as far as, I mean, when I say high valued man, I'm not just talking about money. Money doesn't make you a high valued individual. It makes you successful with money, right? There's more to life than just money.
Totally.
But money takes care of 95% of the problems, but then it creates new ones.
Sure.
So were you all around successful in business, life, money, everything was stability, house? Did you have all that when you met your girlfriend?
No, actually. And it's one of the reasons that I really value my relationship is we started dating 2 months after I joined the solar industry. So we actually met at my last previous job. I worked at Planet Hollywood selling cabanas on the Strip when I was like 21, 22 years old. So knowing that she's been with me through the whole journey, I think reinforces our relationship because as you know, man, being a single guy and being successful and especially in Vegas, having money and living that lifestyle, you attract a lot of girls and a lot of times probably for the wrong reasons. And a lot of people you don't really know, if you're super successful, you're out there making it happen, you're dating a girl, you want to think she's with you because of your personality, but you don't really know. So one of the things that I sleep pretty well at night with our relationship is she met me when I was dead broke. Therefore, she saw the journey, so I know that's not her intent.
Okay, so my question, would you be successful where you're at now without her? As successful as fast as you became this successful? Because, I call it, you don't want to be the hare, you want to be the tortoise. It's not a race, but you also want to be consistent. And the reason I ask this is because you were not even an average guy. You were below average.
Correct.
And she saw something in you. Now, if she works at the pool, she's probably attractive.
Yes.
That's a fair statement.
I like to think so.
Yeah, they don't hire ugly chicks. I'm going to tell you right now.
It's a savage process.
Wow, look at this chick. So you met her when you were how old?
21.
21 years old, okay? If she would have caused chaos and discernment in your relationship, you wouldn't be where you're at. Is that fair?
That's fair.
So do you feel you're successful now because you had a woman of strength behind you?
100%. When you first asked me that question in full transparency, when you asked, hey, do you think you'd be as successful? My initial response would have been yes. And I think that is just because I have so much desire and conviction, especially when I was so hungry to be successful. I was going to make it happen no matter what. Who was in my life, who supported me. But to your point, a girl can either be your demise or raise you to levels. And if I had someone else in my life that maybe wasn't as supportive or wasn't as understanding or didn't feed my soul when things get hard and those challenges arise, it probably would have took a lot longer to get to the level I'm at.
Right on. Yeah. Now, so she's an asset, not a liability.
100%.
And that's why you're still together. Now, do you guys have like, so you didn't date anybody before her, or were you just like grinding?
Yeah, no, I had 2 girlfriends, and I dated, I had a girlfriend in high school, and then she's my second girlfriend ever, and hopefully the last. But yeah, no, I was having fun, right? Being in Vegas, I had a fake ID when I was 19 years old.
What?
So I was going to the clubs.
Well, that was back before they used the scanners then.
Yeah, it must have been.
Because they use those scanners now. And I'm like, you're asking me for I'm old guy. What do you? Oh, we gotta check everybody's ID, and they put it in the scanner. It tells them how old you are.
Yeah. No, totally. And I'm actually grateful because I think what happens a lot of time when I really shifted my vision and perspective from being, college frat boy enjoying Vegas to like, hey, I need to take my life serious. I want to build something. I feel like I got a lot of those vices out of the way of hooking up with girls. And, I was in fraternity for 2 years. It's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of women. It's a really good time. And I feel like I see it when people don't get that out of their system. It confludes and it confuses them when they get in the game. There's so many people who could be crushing it in my business, making 1, 2, 3, 4 times what they're currently making. But the reason they're not is because they didn't have a season of their life where they were able to enjoy themselves and party and enjoy Vegas. So now they're going through that season. And it's actually preventing them from really tapping into that potential. So I'm grateful for that experience. It's almost like I got it out of my system. So now I'm okay putting a lot of that stuff on the back burner.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that because I've noticed, that some individuals go through this, I don't want to call it a hoe phase, but party phase.
Totally.
And they got to get it out of their system. I know it's different for men and women. I talk about body count, but you got it out of your system. You were in a fraternity. So I know you got it out of your system.
Yeah.
Constant. It was study, party, girls, study, party, girls, hungover, blah, blah, blah. How do you prevent yourself now? I know you're a smart man. You're well-read. You're successful. Great relationship. How do you prevent yourself from not getting distracted? Because, I love, this is my thing. I'm a Christian, but we're all hypocrites, okay? So not the religion, the people, okay? People say Muslim, Jewish, Buddhist, whatever. It's not the religion, it's the person. But as an individual, we know our limitations. And when you become more successful at whatever you're doing, you now have a curveball coming at you. Have you ever noticed that when you're not excelling, you're left alone? Right? I don't want to say the devil. I don't want to make this a religious sermon here.
Sure.
Theology. But I've noticed that when I start going on an S curve and I'm riding the ride, you get on the what's that ride called? Not the escalator.
Roller coaster?
Roller coaster. You get on the roller coaster. S curve goes up. You know that there's always going to be ups and downs, peaks and valleys, right? And when I start going up to the top, all of a sudden I get distractions because Lucifer, I don't want to preach, knows what you like. So how do you prevent yourself? I know you value your relationship with your girlfriend. How do you prevent yourself as a man, fairly attractive dude, successful, have a lot of money, look like you're in shape? How do you prevent yourself from not getting into trouble with other women?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think it's just not setting yourself up to fail. If you're addicted to heroin, stay away from people, situations, and circumstances where heroin is. And I know that's an extreme example, but I think it's the same thing. If you're out at the club every single night and if you're associating with a bunch of single dudes that all they want to do is have fun and do cocaine and, strippers, that whole thing, like the Vegas lifestyle, then chances are you're going to be dragged into that. But if you're associating with people who are maybe in relationships or married or, trying to build something in their life, it's going to be so much easier not to fall into those certain vices. So
100%.
I think association is huge. But I also think just remembering why. Why do you do what you do? Why are you doing this? Why are you started? Why are you in a relationship? And I think by keeping that on the forefront of your mind and, you can accomplish any how with big enough whys, right? It's the reasons that typically bring the results. I think if you can stay tunnel vision and remember why you're in this relationship, why are you committed to this? And sometimes even leverage fear. Dav, I think I've done a good job in my life at creating success because I've always done a good job at leveraging fear. I think of the thing that scares the shit out of me, whether it's going broke, not being able to, pay my parents' mortgage, losing my girlfriend, soon to be wife. And I sit with that to allow me to redirect and have some type of redirect and focus on the thing that I want to.
So I call fear false evidence appearing real. Because if your mind is your strongest weapon.
Yep.
And your belief system. And I believe that when you sit there and you let your mind idle, it's dangerous. And that's why staying busy, like you said, I don't put myself in this situation. I know what I like. But I also know if I put myself in that situation, I'm almost voluntarily asking to be put in that situation and causing destruction. So next question, because you're so laser focused I know you do you have a routine? Are you like the calendar guy? I know you have your meetings, but you have a daily ritual routine every day, or you just kind of know what you're going to do every day?
Yeah, in a perfect world, I do. I'm not the guy that wakes up at 5 a.m. and meditates for 10 minutes, reads for 15 minutes, do all these things. I do a routine, and the days that I do it, I feel incredible, and the days that I do it, I feel the difference of doing it. I'm a big proponent of setting yourself up for success. And for me, when I feel good physically, typically I perform at a higher level. So I'm a cold plunge guy. I love the cold plunge. I do the sauna. I do all the biohacking things to the best of my ability. So when I go out there into the modern day battlefield, I have my armor on, and it sets me up for the best chance to win.
Okay. So now, because you're so focused, have you noticed that you have more women come to you because you're not paying attention? Have you noticed that? Do you notice that in your life? And I know you're not looking for it, but have you noticed that because you're in a great relationship, successful in business, obviously you have a good presence. You walk in a room, it's like, this guy's done something. Not because you got an ego, but because you radiate success. Have you noticed that a lot of women are more attracted to you?
Honestly, not that much. Sure, you have your people, and it's mainly people that I had an old relationship with. Maybe girls from high school or girls from college that I see out at a bar or at a college reunion. You can tell that the energy is different than when I was in high school or when I was in college. And part of it is because I put content out and stuff, so people kind of know what I'm doing. But when it comes to like just random meetups and strangers, I don't think so. And I think part of the reason is naturally, like I'm an introvert, like naturally, like, yes, I'm in the sales industry, and yes, like my job is about communicating, influencing people. Door to door is probably one of the hardest things that you can do from a communication standpoint. But I've worked really hard to develop these communication, social skills, whether it's girls or whatever. But I naturally, truly like being by myself. And I think that aura and that essence gravitates to people. So to answer your question, not really.
Yeah, but now I'm going to tell you, I think it does, but you're not paying attention to it.
Potentially.
And this is why. Because all these guys, their focus is off. I tell them, focus on your cash before the ass. And what happens is they're focusing on women. And because of that, women have a sixth sense. They can sense it. You're right. I hear what you're saying. Maybe that's potentially true. But you're seeing the effect from people from the past. Because you're not looking at them as the priority. And your priority is, how do you move forward? How do you get to the next level? Whether it's like, I don't know your business, and I don't want to talk numbers because I know it's private numbers, but let's say, how much growth in revenue do you increase from last year? Well, this year's not over. But are you on track to double, or 30% increase, 20% increase?
Yeah, probably like a 15 to 20%.
That's huge. And then just to let you know, that's a huge increase, okay? We all know that. So you've increased your revenue from last year, but you're so focused. And what happens is you're growing as an individual and you're focused on the priorities. Now, the ass doesn't become a priority. And it never was for you. You're an exception to the rule. You got in at the beginning, you focused on leadership development, you have a woman that's been by your side. But I'm telling you, out there right now, it's a war. It's a war of attrition. The feminist movement, the mindset, I want to be a man, I don't need a man. And what's happening is men are tailoring to that. But the problem is it's creating this whole group of men that's so focused on women, because only 10% of men are actively sexual. Okay, you're like, really? Because you're blind to it, which is good. Stay where you're at. Don't leave, right? Because as soon as you leave, now your business is going to suffer.
Sure.
And so what's happening is all these guys I talk to, the number of questions, well, how do I meet women? It's like, you should be focused on success. That's a byproduct of your success. Wouldn't you agree?
100%.
And so I'm trying to get these guys to see the value and say, look, women from your past are now more attracted to you because they see your success, which is physical, but being around you, you can feel it. I think women know that. And they're like, this guy's not paying attention to me, because that's not even a concern. You already have your relationship, you have your business, you have your faith, you got your foundation, your house is built on concrete, not bamboo, right? You have a 2 to 5 year plan, 5 to 10 year plan. And so for me, and this is something I'm throwing out to you, you'll see the guys you're with, their mindset is, it's Friday, right? It's Friday, right?
TGIF, baby.
And they're focused on one thing, right? Did you read before you went to bed? I tell my guys 30 minutes of reading before you go to bed. Your subconscious mind retains that. But they're like, dude, I got to go to the club. And they're, and then it's like you see them Monday and they look wore out. So I guess for me to you is that I don't feel that you're seeing it because you're not focused on it, which is a good thing. I'm praising you, but I'm telling you it's there. Now, if you were single, your mindset is I'm single, you would still be focused on your business as much, correct? And you would see it more because now you're like, oh, wait a minute, is this girl? Because I think a lot of guys that are successful that are so laser focused don't realize that the woman's actually picking up on them, right? And you're not seeing this. Now, tell me about your guys on your team. You have a lot of single men on your team?
Good amount.
And what do they talk about?
Girls, making money, new cars, partying.
Right. And they're not talking about investments. They're not talking about longevity. And that's my point. It's like make the success. With the success comes the money. When it comes the money, comes the power. Then you have the women.
Yep.
And so that's kind of my mindset. So I want to turn that around. I'm trying to mentor these guys. Say, look, don't worry. Trust me. Because your success as a man, your success is where your value is for a woman, right? Because if you have a broke Chad or a guy that's like, average guy and he makes millions of dollars, they're going to go with the average guy, right? Is that fair?
Yeah.
And so for you as a single, if you were single, and this is going to be weird because you're not single.
Sure.
What would you look for in a woman? What's the value you're going to look for in a woman?
Yeah, so I think life is a game of attraction. To your point, it's an attraction. The reason that maybe the single Chads out there aren't going and getting high value or pretty women is because they haven't created anything in their own life. Therefore, they're not permeating anything to attract people. It's the same thing in my business. We attract high caliber people. You don't go find girls or go find leaders. You attract them. So point number one, what I would look for in a woman if I was single. I go back and forth when it comes to this because if you would have asked me this 3-4 years ago, I probably would have said, oh, I want an ambitious girl who's out there working and grinding and, building her own dreams. And I found that attractive. But as I've got a little bit older, it's actually the opposite of what I want. I don't want a girl that's running her own business and, power couple. I don't really want that anymore. I want a girl that has a good head on her shoulders, obviously attractive, which is subjective to certain people, but is very nurturing and very caring and almost a little bit submissive, but at the same time will challenge you and support you if you are out of line or if you need certain things. So I believe the reason that there's a lot of empowerment when it comes to women, and not that it's a bad thing, right? But it's because there's so much weak men out there. So a lot of these women are having to take the roles of men because the weak men aren't stepping up. Therefore, there is almost this masculine feminine crisis because of them trying to fill a role that they shouldn't have to fill.
Now, what do you say if a woman says, well, you just want to control a woman or you want a weak woman because you don't want a woman that's out there hustling, making money, or successful in business? What do you say to a woman if they say that to you? Now, they don't, but I'm going to say, I'm a woman, because I had this conversation. I want to see what you said. Oh, you don't want a strong woman. You just want a woman that's weak. That's why you don't want a woman out there hustling and making money.
Yeah, I would never say I want a weak woman. I wouldn't use those terms.
Well, that's what the girl's going to say.
Sure, yeah, that's her assumption. Because I would say I believe in traditional dynamics.
Boom.
And I think that not that women can't go chase their dreams and have an awesome relationship with, business and all these things. But at the end of the day, I believe that men's job is to support, to provide, and protect. And if both roles are doing the provide part, then both cups are going to be empty and there's not going to be that dynamic of having that support to refill it. So I would say chances are that if that individual woman is not happy with that statement or challenging you, she is probably not doing the best as her counterpart to support her husband.
See, and I want to tell everybody, this is time and time again. I have the men I have on here, I call them 7 figures, right? The 7-figure men that are multimillionaires, very successful. Doesn't seem like you're obviously not a controlling person. You're a nice guy, got a good demeanor, right? Very, very easy to get along with. We don't want to control women. And I think the reason I see all these podcasts, Fresh and Fit, I see all these successful podcasts, they bring some guys on there too. But I wanted to bring men on here too, not just women, because guys are like, oh, bring women, just women. I want women to see what a successful man looks like and acts like and what they want. Because women don't know what men want. They think they know. Mm-hmm. And that's why they dress the way they dress. They act provocative. They do certain things. It's like that's going to lead you to one thing, sex, not longevity in a relationship. So I'm glad you said that, because for me, it was the same thing. I shifted, right? Because before it's like, oh, I want, this girl to make all this money. But so my definition of a strong-headed woman, I say any woman can be a strong-headed woman, but it's harder to be a woman of strength. In your relationship, do you believe it's 50-50 or do you believe you lead?
I lead.
Okay, and she follows?
Yes.
And initially, was that an issue? Because you both started at the bottom and now you're here, like Drake said. Was that hard at the beginning?
No, I don't think so. Because I made it very clear, not just said it, but by my actions, the life that I wanted to build for myself, and then obviously eventually for her as well, as we started getting more serious. And if it was up to her, she probably wouldn't be working right now. We've had the conversation, hey, as soon as we have a baby, you're good. You don't have to work. But I also, at the same time, I like the fact that she works, because not necessarily the money part, but it's very important for ladies to have their own identity as well. And when the woman is so dependent on the man, she doesn't have her own friends, she doesn't have her own life, she doesn't have her own things going on, then you become codependent, and that's not a healthy relationship either.
Okay, but don't you believe in a relationship there's no independence, right? Because you can't be independent and be in a relationship.
Correct.
You're codependent to a point. I'm not saying 100%, but hear me out. My philosophy is like, I depend on my girl to be the nurturer, supporter. She cooks, cleans, takes care of the house. And then she relies on me to take care of the bills, be the provider, the protector. So there's a little bit of codependency there, right? I hear what you're saying. Don't you agree with that? But I know what you're saying. You don't want an idle mind. You want her to do something, be active. When you have a child, she's going to be the CEO of the house, full-time mom. That's a hard job.
Totally.
Now, to me, and that's why I praise women. If you don't want to be a full-time mom because it's too tough. It's easier to go get a job and then hand your baby off and have somebody else raise your baby. You spend $2,500 a month and then get it indoctrinated into a false narrative that's going on right now. So don't you believe there's a little bit of codependency now? I mean, she relies on you, you rely on her, right?
100%.
But you both could go your separate ways.
Yes. And I agree with you 100%. To run an efficient household and to raise a kid, for sure, it takes a village, and it takes your partner. Just like any business relationship or just like any relationship, there's strengths and weaknesses that both parties need to have, and they're there to support each other and help themselves. I think where, at least for me, in our relationship, is when her life becomes completely about my life, and all we talk about is what I'm doing or my business or my friends or all of that, then she loses a little bit of her own identity in that. So I think in order to create a successful household, there needs to be the essence of codependent on each other. But I think if she leans too much into my life and what I'm doing, she loses a little bit of that power and enthusiasm in herself.
100%. Couple more things. I know we got to shut down here soon. Who is, if you could have any guest on your podcast, who would it be? Besides me. No, I'm just kidding. No, who would it be? Like, if you could, it could be like a Ben Shapiro, a Donald Trump, Joe Biden, a Joe Rogan, anybody that's alive. Who would you choose if you could have a guest on your podcast? Who would it be?
Probably, I don't know if you know this person, but Ed Milet.
Ed Milet, no. I'm not sure if I recall who that is.
Ed Milet, he's, kind of what I desire to be, worth $600-700 million, probably close to a billionaire. But just the way that he communicates, his public speaking ability, he's out there, traveling the world, making, selling out arenas of hundreds of thousands of people.
Wow.
He's a big deal. Private jet, whole 9 yards, but he's made such a big impact in my life. His content, through the ways of being, that I feel like it would be awesome to spend an hour with him.
Nice. So we're going to throw that out to him. See if
Ed Milet, if you're watching, baby, come on.
Come on, Ed. And what's one piece of advice that you can give? I'm going to split this in genders. What's the number one piece of advice you can give to a man right now, whether he's 18 years old or 50, 60 years old, that wants to be successful What's one piece of advice in business?
Don't conform. There's a quote on my Instagram. It's my favorite quote. It says that the opposite of cowardice, the opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice, but it is conformity. And I believe that. I think as a man, the opposite of courage is conformity, because the easiest thing that you can do in life is follow the crowd, go with the flow, and do what everyone else is doing. And as we've seen and as we talk about, average and the system and where that will lead you is an unfulfilled, broke, obese, and just an unfortunate average life. And I think the worst thing that you can do as a man is conform, because your future family, your wife, your girlfriend depends on you to create that life and create that dream life. And if you're not out there doing something that you believe in and that you're passionate about and something that fires you up every single day, you're not going to be able to show up the way that you need to for your family and the people you care about in your life.
Wow. Now, what's the number one advice you give to single women that want to meet a high-valued man?
It's a good question. Single women that want to meet a high-value man.
So if she's a single lady and she's having a hard time meeting a successful high-valued man, right? Because every woman says the same thing. He needs to be 6 feet tall, six-pack abs, six-figure income. I'm joking. Forget the abs. They say the dad bod, but there's a reason why they say that. That's a different topic. So they want first of all, there's 3% of men are 6 feet and over. So on the average height, 5'9", whatever that is. So what do you say to a woman that wants a high-valued man? How does she set herself up for success with a high-valued man? What would you say? Because remember, you're high-valued. So what would she have to do to attract a guy like you? Now, you're in a relationship, so this is, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah. I would say be exclusive. I think one of the things, we all want in life what we can't have, playing hard to get, like all these things. There's a reason that all these things exist. And the quickest way to make a high value guy unattractive to you as a girl, in my opinion, is by being with people that they know or hearing certain things about them with certain people. Because as a man, I believe that when you find a wife or find a girlfriend, you want them to be exclusive to you. You don't want anyone else to have the benefit of being in a relationship with them or hooking up with them or the case. And I feel like in society now, girls are essentially doing whatever they want when it comes to men and who they hook up with, who they hang out with. And that's okay, but you have to be mindful of, if you're trying to attract a high value man, you may be discouraging that relationship because of your lack of exclusivity to the thing that you actually want.
Wow, that's powerful. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you coming on. This has been great. I mean, it's more informative than I wanted or expected to be. I just love your charisma, the way you carry yourself. I love your leadership abilities. You're so successful. And I don't want to say young man, but to me, you're a young guy, right? So 29, wow, wish I could go back. But it's great. This has been fun. So before we go, I want you to tell everybody your Instagram, your YouTube, and how they can get a hold of you through those means. So why don't you tell them your Instagram?
Totally. At Steven Cohen, StevenCohen. You can get through all my social profiles from there. And I also do have a podcast called Millionaire on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Definitely go check it out.
All right. Right on. Hey, thanks. And remember, this is the only podcast right now where the truth will set you free. Stay strong. We'll see you soon. I think I looked at the wrong camera.